In most D20 systems, when a player fails a skill check, that's where the action stops. The party can't open the door, the guards spot them as they try to sneak through the camp, or the party has no idea whether or not the smuggler is lying to them. This has been an issue in TTRPGs since their inception, and there are games out there that have sought to solve this problem, such as Powered by the Apocalypse or Genesis. But that doesn't really do anything for the largest subset of games out there, D20 games, where skill checks come down to the roll of a single die that generates a single number that tells you whether or not you passed or failed. I've seen a lot of hacks out there involving adding additional dice, table tokens, class features, etc. But the 13th Age 2nd Edition Hero's Handbook, I think, has one of the best sections that is an elegant solution to this issue. I've been using it in Eberron Renewed, my actual play podcast, where we're using 13th Age for our third campaign. And the solution is using failures to create a better story. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Geek Pantheon. I am Eric, and today we're going to dive into this section of the 13th Age 2nd Edition. It's the core rule book split up into two different sub-books, with the Hero's Handbook being the first section that has this in it. So the book presents a few different options that I love and wanted to highlight here. But the simple axiom is, things don't go as expected because something interesting happens. Use the failure as a chance to introduce a new element into the story. The first section is called Succeeding Backwards. So this idea is that you succeed. Your skills are so great as a hero that when you attempt to do something, it's not like you're incapable of doing it. The example given in the book is that the bard is trying to charm the first mate of a ship to get information out of them. The skill check does not go the way that the player character was hoping, but rather than saying your charms fall on deaf ears, you find out that the first mate of this ship is an evangelizing member of a cannibal cult, and they do really like you, and they really want to share their faith with you, and maybe, invite you to a meeting sometime. And so all of a sudden, the player does not get what they were seeking to get out of the skill check, which is the definition of failure. But the story reflects that the bard is charming. They just picked the worst possible person to charm. The next section is titled Be Like Kirk, and this is a reference to the original Star Trek series where Captain Kirk never found himself in a situation he did not intend to be there. If he has been captured and is being marched into the depths of the enemy camp to be imprisoned, well, that was all part of the plan the whole time. So, for example, if the player character is trying to track a spy across the city and stay stealthy as they try to follow them, well, skill check goes poorly, not a great stealth roll. Rather than saying, oh yeah, you tripped or you kicked a stone that you didn't see, if your hero is a skilled assassin, they're rarely going to make that kind of blunder. So rather, have them get a lay of the land, see where the spy is headed, and realize there's no reasonable way for me to continue to be stealthy and keep up with them. So all of a sudden, that failed skill check is actually the hero having insight into the situation, realizing, I want to continue to sneak and follow this person, but it is not possible for me to do so, so I have to retreat. That way, it still reflects the heroes as being incredibly skillful and incredibly intelligent about how they use their abilities, even when the dice tell them you can't proceed further. Or additionally, going off of that same example, maybe they, as they are watching this spy and about to make their next move, they spot someone following them, or they spot another third party following the spy. A new element has been introduced into the story that makes things more interesting and complicated and prevents the player character from continuing on. And then the last subsection of this part is, it wasn't your fault. So this is one that I probably use the most at my table. When a player character fails a skill check, it's not because they didn't have the skill to execute it. The example in the book is if the ranger of the party is trying to guide the rest of the party through some woods to their destination and they fail the check to do so. That's not because the ranger's bad at following the signs of the forest and following game trails and things like that. You, as the GM, can describe to the player character that there's a corruption in these woods. You followed all of the markers that should have guided you through these woods, but it didn't work for some reason, and you are confident in knowing it should have. So what's going on? This provides an interesting adventure hook. And even if you don't have an answer to what's going on in that moment, well, just, allow them to continue to investigate and search. And then in between sessions, come up with a really cool side quest for them to figure out what's corrupting the woods, or tie it into the overarching story that you're already telling. Either way, with this section, failing in style, the player character still fails at their objective with the skill check. They are unable to find out more information from the first mate. They are unable to follow the spy through the city. They cannot guide the party through the woods. But the reasons for that are ultimately more interesting than simply telling that player your character was not good enough in this moment. You provide incentives for them to continue to pull back the layers of the adventure, finding out what the heck is going on in this cannibal cult. Who is following me? Why are the woods corrupted? Those are new adventures as a result of failed skill checks. And the next section is failure equals success, but things get worse. The first subsection is success with consequences, which is the first workaround that most systems introduce to get around this problem, which is you failed the skill check, you get what you want, but some additional wrinkles are added to the mix. So this is similar to what I was describing with the party rogue trying to track someone across the city, where instead of saying you see the lay of the city, you cannot continue pressing forward, and adding the introduced wrinkle of and you're being followed, or you see someone else from a different angle continue to follow them, this time you say you can continue to follow them. And the party might pick up on that something's going on. And this is where it can be a lot of fun for game masters if the rogue is trying to follow someone to their location, to a smuggler's ring, and they roll a natural 2 and they add their modifiers, like that's a 9. And you say, okay, you continue following him. And you find yourself led to this false front store. The party is going to immediately be on edge, like, wait, no. That can't be right, that was a success. And what you know as the game master is the person being followed noticed they were being followed and is going to be able to set up an ambush or lead them to the wrong spot or do something that presents an obstacle to the party. And so you get to hold those cards close to your chest and still present success to them, but the adventure gets more complicated. And when the party finally reaches their destination, let's say you go with the person being followed, realized they were being followed, and was able to send a signal to get word ahead, had a sending stone or a spell that they could use, or just gets to their destination and then puts up high alert, add a few extra monsters to the encounter for the ambush as a practical effect for the failed check, making the encounter harder. And you can even tell the players, like, yeah, there's actually a handful of extra people here because they noticed that they were being followed. And then they will clock that. So there are sometimes going to be situations where if we fail a skill check and we try to do something, things become harder. We get to continue, but they become more difficult. And then the last one is failure exacts a price. And so this is really helpful as a way to think about some skill checks in your adventures being to avoid a greater cost or a greater obligation. So if the party is attempting to find out where a group of assassins are meeting, and they know that one option is to go to one of the party members' cousins who works for the town guard and get the information directly from him, and he'll probably be willing to part with that information, but he's going to want something in return. He's going to want some information about a different case. He's going to want you all to look into something. Or as it has in the book, he's going to want the players to have their characters dress up as iconic figures and come to his 7-year-old's birthday party and be the characters at the birthday party and have to dance at the whims of a spoiled child. That would be funny. And if you fail that skill check to find out the information on your own, guess what path forward is available for you? And so that can be a really fun back and forth. Yes, you failed the skill check to find this information. Here's where you can find the information, and here's the price that's going to cost you. I would feel at your party for stuff like this. Some players are not going to jive well with much less the silliness of being a character at a 7-year-old's birthday party. I have some players that would absolutely love doing that and think it's hilarious that their normally noble heroes are brought low in that way. There are going to be some players that don't like that, and furthermore, don't like the idea of being beholden to someone and not getting to act the way they want to on their own timeline. Now, that can be fine if the player, and by extension their character, finds it annoying that they're still engaged with the game, but there are some players out there that are going to be completely taken out of the experience because they don't want to have to deal with stuff like that. So, like all this advice, feel your players out, but I really like this, and it's a good way to think about how you structure your adventures, of always having those pipelines out of a failed check with some kind of narrative price attached to it. But there is a sidebar in the book that says don't sweat it. If this seems like a lot, and a lot to remember when you're in the middle of a session running and somebody just rolls a little bit too low, sometimes it's okay to say, yeah, your player character beefed it this time. They just didn't do it. So this doesn't have to be, you must do this every single time or else you are a bad GM. These are just helpful tools to make failures feel better in your story and lead to more engaging adventures overall, and provide you with interesting pipelines. And I would encourage you, be very aware of your characters' backstories and things going on in their personal lives, because that is a very fruitful garden of places to pull these kinds of unintended consequences from. If you are trying to sneak through the city and follow a spy, and you fail in the skill check, and you know that this player character has like a huge family that lives in the city, and of course their cousin shows up this time. It's like, hey, what's going on? Very loudly, and they have to like duck around and be like, quiet, I'm on the job. So have those threads in mind, and that will make it a lot easier. Your players will provide consequences for you if you just pay attention to what their characters care about. So what do you all think? Do you like this kind of insight? Do you like this methodology of handling D20 TTRPG failures? Or do you have a system that you come up with on your own? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps out a whole heck of a lot. And I will see you next time.